Life is busy and life is complicated. And in the middle of our hectic days, sometimes we just need a brief thought, or a quick reminder, or the proverbial shot in the arm to keep us on track. Sometimes what we need is just a bit of wisdom, or a fresh idea, or a touch of inspiration to keep us going. Sometimes we just need a little something in our day. This collection of Life Talks podcast shorts are written and produced to provide the listener a quick thought or an uplifting idea in a convenient 5 to 6 minute time frame. These are produced for the busy individual who needs a lift in their day, but who's pressed for time. It is our hope that these podcast shorts will make your day a bit brighter and a bit richer.
Hi, I'm Craig Lounsborough. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with me today. People ask me, is there any hope? And there have been times, more than one, where I found myself asking the same exact question. Is there any hope? And I often ask myself, what kind of world do we live in? How dark has it all become? How bad must it be that we somehow find ourselves driven to some point or some place in our lives that's so desperate that we actually find ourselves asking that kind of question? And I'll tell you what, if you're asking that question, it's because you're in a really dark place. And I know how dark they are because I've been there, and so have you. Think about it for a minute. Without hope, what have we got? What have we got? If we can't apply some feeling of hope to our future, or a marriage that's hanging on by a thread, or a disease that could go really wrong really fast, or a child who's gone rogue, or a career that's teetering on the edge of some abyss, or an addiction that's eaten up someone's life or someone's family. If there's no hope that you can apply to any of that stuff, what have you got? You know exactly what it's like when life collapses. We both know what that's like. When your dream just dies, and they can die for a lot of reasons that are just brutal. When your marriage vanishes, and you didn't even see it coming. When you've run into so many walls just trying to get to some next place in life, any next place, that all you end up spending your life doing is waiting for the next wall to show up, because you're certain that it's going to. When you begin to realize that the damage is just too much. And as you realize that, it begins to dawn on you that it's humanly impossible to ever climb out from under all of it. If there's no hope that you can apply to any of that, what have you got? If there's no hope, what's the sense in all of this? Why go on? Why try? Why invest? Why keep moving forward? If there's no hope, nothing matters. If there's no hope, then this existence that we're living out, whatever this existence is, all of this is meaningless. It just doesn't matter. You've felt that. I've felt that. The world feels it. Hope is indispensable. And I mean indispensable. And if we've lost it, as we all have it, sometime or someplace, we got to find it. Because going on without it is simply impossible. It just doesn't work. I know that, and if you've lived long enough, and if you've faced the darkness long enough, you know that too. Hope is indispensable. But where do you find hope anyway? I mean real hope. I'm not talking about another person's promises, because those break, or some passing fad, because those have no depth, or some vogue philosophy, because those are typically failed ideas that have been dressed up in some new clothing, or political platforms, because those typically serve the platform rather than the people. I'm not talking about any of that, because life is littered with that stuff. We're drowning in it. I'm not talking about the latest book or some trending podcast or some woke idea. And as far as I can tell, all of that stuff promises hope, but it delivers nothing. If it did deliver hope, we wouldn't be here. This is my experience. I've had times where everything seemed hopeless. Everything was dark, and I mean really dark, bleak. When all the resources and all of the promises that this world made me failed me miserably. And when the world fails you, where do you go? Well, you go where I went. I went to God. Now that statement won't sit well with some people. But if hope is indispensable and the world can't give it to you, where else do you go? What other options do you have? But more than that, what other option would you really want anyway? I want an option that works, that's sustainable, regardless of what life throws at me. An option that delivers hope for my future, hope for my marriage, hope for a disease, hope for a child who's gone rogue, or a career that's teetering on the edge of some abyss, or an addiction that's eating up my life. And there's only one place where you can find that kind of hope, and that's in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Get a Bible and check it out. Go to church, call a pastor, give it a shot. If you do, you'll find exactly what you need in the exact way that you need it, because that's how the God of hope operates.
Thanks for being with us today. It's our hope that this podcast short gave you something not only to enrich your day, but touch your life. Here at Life Talk, we also produce a collection of regular-length podcasts that address timely, relevant, and deep-seated issues in our lives, our communities, and our world.